Come on. Hello everybody and welcome to the archive. This is an Inside the Circle edition. Today I'm covering a 1FC fight between Aung La Nsang and Brandon Vera. So at the time when Aung La Nsang was a 2-division champion, middleweight and light heavyweight, Brandon Vera is the heavyweight champion. So Brandon was coming down to attempt to take a second belt. Looked in fantastic shape. And this, well, let me just start this playing. When you see these two guys face off, you immediately think to yourself, well, Brandon Vera's clear got the advantage. And most fans, that have been following MMA for a long time will be aware of Brandon Vera, how good he is, how talented he is. He's a big heavyweight taking on Aung La Nsang, who's clearly shorter, smaller in a lot of ways, but in no way smaller by heart or determination to win. And with Aung La Nsang, he's got this really nice loose style where everything's got measured power in it. He's trained by Henry Hooft. He's got a really nice fundamental kickboxing Muay Thai style. Works that calf kick very well. Varies his attack. He does a lot of jab into the body as well as coming up to the head. He tends to swing his overhand right a little bit because he knows he's got power in it. But he does seem to have power everywhere. And in this fight, he was able to push Brandon Vera back very early on. He kept working the body, he kept chopping into that lead leg. Really did a lot of damage to that leg at the start. Now, Brandon Vera here, this is kind of the point where Vera realizes that he needs to do something because he's been at distance for a while now. So this calf has been affected. Fortunately for Brandon Vera, he's able to switch stances. He can fight southpaw or orthodox. But unfortunately for Brandon Vera, so can Nsang. So no matter what stance he stood in, he was always getting kicked with rather heavy kicks. I mean, you look at Aung La, a lot of his weight is in his lower body. He's got really thick, powerful legs, and all of the footage I've seen where he's training with Henry Hooft, he's working on a shield, a tie pad, or a kick shield, and he's just powering kicks into the body. And that's what we saw in other fights of his, against like Ken Hasegawa, for example. Really beat him up well to the body with the kick, but then was able to stop him with a power punch. You can tell the way that Nsang moves that he's got a very kind of, his style reminds me a lot of Mark Hunt. He rocks side to side, he gathers momentum with like a pendulum motion, but at the same time he stays very loose. So on the flip side, very much like James Toney, as punches are hitting him, they kind of roll off him a lot of the time. Now this exchange here, there are two clear shots where it could have changed the fight entirely in Brandon Vera's direction. He crowds Aung La against the fence and realizes that the distance that he's fighting at is not suiting him. And it's part of the distance and part of the pace of the fight as well, because Aung La he's constantly working. I was watching the fight a few times and after a while I realized that the regularity that he's throwing there's like a 4-beat in between every shot. He goes strike. It's just like a constant dripping motion. He's always landing something or pressuring. It's a low kick and everything's got a decent amount of power in it. Oftentimes I like fighters to measure their power, but he more measures his placement and varies his attacks so he can always get away with throwing lots of power. So anyway, bit of a tangent. This is where Vera closes distance. He closes range. I'm going to play it through slow motion first so you can see it. No, I'll play it through full speed so you can see it first. So catches the kick, runs him down, straight into the clinch. And obviously Vera, Thai boxing background, very good in the clinch with elbows and knees. I'm going to play you that back in slow motion. And I want you to see how many of these shots, a part of it again is that steady like pendulum motion, very, very loose, very relaxed. Like Aung La rolls underneath and he moves out the way, but he also rides some shots. He takes shots. He takes a couple of elbows in this exchange. I'll play it through slow. Here we go. So he gets ran back to the fence. Vera comes straight in with a knee, which doesn't land. That elbow lands, but obviously the range, Aung La takes it clean on the face, but kind of turns himself into it. So that's a clear shot he takes, but fortunately it lands on the forearm and not on the tip of the elbow. So, bigger surface area, the power's spread over it. It probably wasn't pleasant, but it's not something that's going to cut him or, hurt him in any serious way. Then he drops his head and the second one comes in, and that one kind of glances off the top side of his head. The knee just misses. Now look how lucky he is that knee just goes up to the inside of his head. That's one of the two shots that was very, very close to very, very close to landing. I mean, that could have been a fight changer for him. But this is the danger of fighting Brandon Vera, and he was lucky in these scenarios that he was able to keep his head off the center line. There's another elbow that he slips. Watch that. Easy to miss these things, which is why I like to point them out. Sees the elbow coming, dips right underneath it. Really slick, and then counters over the top. Like staying loose, staying relaxed. He's not tense in these moments. He's either pressuring forward or he's relaxed and he's moving back and he's allowing his opponent to work. He's quite comfortable up against the fence defending takedowns. That's something I've noticed about him. So, this is a scenario where he's probably quite confident that Vera's not going to level change anytime soon. And he can see this elbow's coming because, first of all, he knows where one of Vera's hands is. It's on the back of his head. Let me just change that over. The hand's on the back of the head for Vera, so he can see that the elbow's on its way. But still very good awareness to get his head out of the way and counter. And, this is all first round. You get the feeling that his confidence is growing. He pushes Brandon Vera off in moments where Vera was starting to get a bit too tired to throw knees. And Vera can feel this fight is starting to slip away from him. So he's starting to move in and pressure. You've got to think of the wear and tear on that lead leg at this point as well. And there's nothing he's done so far that's really hurt Aung La. Nothing that's deterred him from coming crashing forward and landing short shots. And just that stubborn defense that Aung La's got as well. Standing in the pocket, just gets his hands up and takes the shots and then returns with a powerful low kick. This is the end of the first round. He actually takes a couple of body kicks here. He takes a shot very well. He's got great defense. Very traditional Muay Thai style of defense. He catches it on the bottom of his elbow, tries to hook it with the lead arm. So that's the end of the first round. So going into the second round again. Going into the second round, it's very much the same thing. And this is where I got the impression that Aung La didn't come in. He didn't come in to just try and catch Brandon Vera with a clean shot. He had a lot of respect for his game, but he also knew the value in a maintained pressure. Now, you see Brandon Vera a lot more in this round, switching stances. He goes southpaw to orthodox, and you can also start to really see the bruising on the leg and also start to see the reaction of Brandon Vera as the kick lands. When that lands, he's even turned his knee out to it. You can see he's trying to check that. But this is the difficulty with the calf kick. Is that even in situations where a fighter is blocking the kick, they're still taking the foot on the outside of the leg. Is this the shot? You can see the swelling on the front side of this leg here. But you see, even if Brandon Vera turns his shin out to catch the kick, it's still gonna land with a lot of force, and his foot's gonna wrap around the side and still catch the femoral nerve, which is what's responsible for deadening the bottom of the leg. This steady pressure and this constant pace is really the signature of Aung La. We've seen it in a lot of his fights. Something else that gets through really well is the uppercut. Watch this. Straight up the center line. That is, again, signature move of Aung La. We saw it in the fifth round of the first fight against Hasegawa. Backs up, straight up the center. Very good under pressure, so it makes it difficult to bear down on him with a tie clinch. Because the danger with a tie clinch, obviously, as you can see here, is that it requires, especially if someone's planning on throwing a knee. So Brandon Vera comes in with an elbow here, then he goes to a double-handed tie clinch is what he's going for. But that ties up both of his hands. It gives the person being clinched in this situation, Aung La, a moment to throw a couple of shots. The other one I remember was Guy Mezger against Vanderlei Silva. Silva was trying to constantly get the tie clinch in that fight, and Vera and Guy Mezger just kept sliding back out of range just slightly and pulling Vanderlei's arms away from his body to create a channel up the center. And then he was coming up with uppercuts and around with hooks. And this is where Aung La starts to now deter Brandon Vera from grabbing the clinch. Because, I mean, that was a clean uppercut. And he just can't seem to keep a hold of him. You know, he just shooks him off. He's very, very loose in his style. But this is the point where now you can see that he can feel the fatigue in Brandon Vera, and he can feel that there's not, you know, the pressure that he's starting to apply. The pressure that he's been applying through the first round into the second is now starting to really show on Brandon Vera. It was such an impressive performance from Aung La to be able to do this to Brandon Vera and to keep chopping into that leg. Then he starts to work the body. That was a beautiful body shot. And there's one a little further on in the fight, which I've clipped out to show you, where you can see him. He kind of catches the lead arm of Brandon Vera. So I'll get onto it when we get there. I'm jumping ahead. This is a really nice shot to the body, though, here. And this is, you know, the benefit in being confident in your defense and confident in the pocket, and also confident in your ability to take a shot, if we're honest. Here you can see him like really lunging into the pocket and digging a hard body shot to the midsection of Brandon Vera. And then, you know, it's the constant trickle of hit you to the legs, beat you up to the legs, work the body, and then start coming over the top. And the relaxed motion of his body doesn't give anything away. There's the body shot. So you can see here, so Vera's being pressured. And I mean, you can always tell a fighter's confidence when they step into punching range heel first. And immediately you can see Vera responds because he posts out with his lead hand. He doesn't want that pressure, and he's stepping back into a southpaw stance. Now, this is the point where you can see that Aung La has made contact with the lead hand of Brandon Vera. I've got this new tool. I want to keep using it now. There we go. So we can see that he's caught the wrist. He knows where that hand is of Brandon Vera. He's also inside, so he knows there's a danger from the left hand of Brandon Vera here. He's got control of the right hand. As he keeps moving into range, he lets this go, and he sees this start to curve in towards his chin. And he allows it to pass him by and digs a really hard body shot. Here we go, watch this. So he's got control of the wrist. Brandon Vera rolls it in and then tries to hook it onto his chin. Bang. As Aung La digs a big body shot there. You know, part of the benefit of moving forward as well is that your shots have got the impact of the forward momentum. Brandon Vera does a good job of trying to counter here, but look at the angle of the punch. This is a good example of shots rolling off Aung La's chin because of the way he angles things. Now, let me find a good angle of it. My goodness. There we go. You can see the point of Brandon Vera. Oh, wrong tool. 1 second. No, that one. You can see the point of Brandon Vera's elbows there. You can see the fist is here. And I can just about see the edge of the glove there, which is what this mass here is, the top of the glove. So that's the edge of the glove. There's the tape. So the fist is there. So the angle of this punch is moving down in that direction. Let me just get rid of that last bit. If you look at the angle of Aung La's head, his head is here. So the angle of the punch is coming down in the same direction of his chin. So he's not taking the force directly into the chin. It's not coming across. If it came over his arm here and into the side of his head in that direction, now you're looking at getting that turn on the chin, which is going to render somebody unconscious. But because Brandon Vera is coming over and down, he's able to ride that off his chin. And he continues forward. I mean, he takes that shot. Like I said, he can take a shot. But at the same time, some of the shots that land, he's braced for them. Like this one, look, he's braced for this one. He takes the shot into his shoulder. Nice. And this is the counter. This is the point where Brandon Vera really starts to back up, because he throws a couple of shots here. Nice short uppercut, comes up the center, catches him, and a really long left hook, but doesn't quite do enough power. Doesn't quite land with enough power to really do anything. And then that counter left hook that comes right across his chin. As he's leaning into it, look, this is the other thing you've got to bear in mind. Brandon Vera's body weight is moving in this direction. Watch the back foot as well. The back foot comes up off the floor. His whole body weight is leaning, and then the counter punch is going to come across his chin in the opposite direction. So you've got opposing forces moving towards one another. Comes across his chin, bang, leaning into the punch, and you can see in his body, in his posture as well, that hurts him, and so can Aung La. So then he starts backing him up. Nice head kick. We've seen a couple of head kicks that have landed really cleanly for him. No reason why not to try it in this one, but it's just, again, it's the steady pressure, uppercut up the center again, and I mean, I just like how efficient this is. So so Aung La actually catches an elbow here. A bit further back. 1 second. Brandon Vera land. So okay, so here we go. Just because you'll notice that Aung La gets cut, and this is the elbow that cuts him. So it comes across from Brandon Vera, covering the outside gate, which is really nice. So you can see Brandon Vera's arm there, and then you can see Aung La's arm swinging over the top. So Vera's been able to stop that in the process of throwing an elbow, which is there. So he's using that forward momentum of the overhand left coming from Aung La. He's covering it and catching him with the elbow on the way in. Really nice counter elbow Thai boxing move. Catches Aung La on the forehead and cuts him. But then obviously, feeling challenged by that, he decides he's going to go for a spinning elbow, which he does and lands beautifully. Catches Brandon Vera right on the side of the head, to which Vera then replies with a spinning elbow, which doesn't land. Throws himself off balance. But it was just a great fight. I mean, you should just go back and watch it, commentary and all, and really get a feel for the audience and the atmosphere, because, I mean, Aung La is a huge star, and so is Brandon Vera. And for those two guys to come together, for it to be a title fight, for them both to be champions, to be coming together to face off, was it was just it was one of those special fights that I think everybody should watch. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it for you guys today. And I'm going to be doing a lot more One stuff as well, because I'm getting into their back catalogue, and there's some really good fights, as well as the events on TNT at the moment. So make sure you check those out. One on TNT 4 is this Wednesday. So if you're watching this, around now, April 24th, this is. So make sure you get on that and watch that, because Aung La is main event, and he's rematching Derrida, which is... well, there'll be a grudge match there for sure. So make sure you tune into that. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's made some sense. I hope you've learned something. And I'll see you next time.